So after last week's shocking end, both for anime originals and seemingly light novel readers alike, just the fact that seemingly something major got cut from the light novel, but then the anime decided to reintroduce it in such a shocking but brilliant way, really making us foam at the mouth and just want blood the exact same way Naofumi does. And I love the idea of him starting with Raphtalia in this new arc, transported to a new world. Sure, we don't know where Filo is, but at the very least, we have Raphtalia, everything seems to be going good, then ripped away. What in the actual hell? Is she going to live? Are they going to throw her into slavery? Is there going to be a fate worse than death? And to see the type of anger that we really haven't seen outside of the Rage Shield prior to the start of season 1. That's the type of rage it feels like he has brewing, because for him, this family that he's built it means everything to him, and to have such a scumbag, and I have to say, Kyo plays the scumbag magnificently. Seriously, in order to really sell you on wanting revenge or wanting to see the big bad of an arc go down, there hasn't been many shows that have recently made my blood boil as much as this man, but he plays the asshole so well. And the fact that he is making one of the best girls of this show suffer and be chained up, as we see at the end of the episode. After the credits there's a brief moment with Raphtalia in a cage, chained up, going to some unknown, winter location, looks like a castle. And the fact that Naofumi can no longer see her stats, something big is happening, and it's not looking good. And even though I would say a majority of this episode was in pain, they made it rage-filled in the appropriate moments. Immediately, seeing a Naofumi who isn't thinking logically, he's saying, if you can open it back up, throw me back in there, I do not care if I get killed trying, I'm not gonna leave her alone. And then to see how, done he was with bullshit before he could really even get that annoyed with the way people were acting. It's no surprise that even it doesn't matter what world he goes to, people just don't like the shield hero when he's initially summoned. In this case, however, it feels a little more warranted than just, a single kingdom summoning all the heroes. And seriously, he was never supposed to be there to begin with, and then in return he got pushed away. There's literally a section of his world that had he been summoned there, he would have been praised right from the get-go. But in the case of this, he's essentially an invader, and invaders typically mean they're gonna destroy your worlds. You kinda they're picking up arms sort of a thing. So at least in that case, it's not as much as you summoned me here, why the hell are you trying to kill me or push me away now? At the very least, it does come across as a foreign invader sort of a thing, but I love how before he could even get into a fight or an argument, he just turns around and he's done. He's like, you know what, I've been through the ringer through this type of bullshit before. I'm not sticking around, I'm not playing your games, I'm gonna go find my girl. And it's interesting to see the different vassals and the weapons and what they can do. We already have one of our characters essentially using a fishing rod, but the idea of the boat vassal is really cool because it's essentially just the best transportation you can use. And I really enjoy how they're playing around with the mechanics that, the shield hero starts off with a pretty basic and what you're typically used to. There's a bow, there's a sword, there's a spear, there's a shield, right? And not to say what we're typically used to is bad, but it's really cool to see how the later portions of this story are twisting what we're expecting powers and abilities to look like and feel like. But I think the star of this episode for me was that rage when we find Filo. She's literally being held prisoner, being mocked and paraded around to sing, and seemingly they can't even understand her, and it just sounds like crying to them because that's what's happening. She's crying and in tears, begging for Naofumi or her big sister to come rescue her. And to see just moments of him just explicitly saying, I'm going to go murder that bastard. And the fact that you can even have Risha of all characters agree to wanting to kill the scumbag, but needing to pull him back because just charging in there is going to cause more issues than if they go in at night and rescue her in that way. And it's nice because it's one of those things where it doesn't say him being mad is an issue. It's just the fact of the matter is there's a lot of shit going on in this world and we need the least amount of heat possible as we try to regroup with everyone that we care about. Of course, they still ended up getting caught, so he ends up using one of the coolest moves I think he's used with his shield to date. It almost feels like you're going inside the person's mind and you're showing them their worst fears sort of a thing. All the talking heads and the fact that he was in the cage sort of a thing. I thought was such a cool visual twist on what we're typically used to with his abilities. and I thought they did an amazing job with that. I also really enjoy Raph, this little cute animal that is basically almost like the familiar of Raphtalia. The fact that in earlier episodes, I think it was back in season 1 if I remember correctly, when he put Raphtalia's hair into his shield, because back in the early stages he literally would consume anything around him just to see what would happen. And I love the fact that they're able to make something that can give them hope, but not immediately say 100%, we can just teleport magically to a location. So it gives it a sense of urgency without completely making it hopeless sort of a thing. Because had he not had something that could connect him to Raphtalia, especially given that they literally remove his ability to see her stats at the end of the episode, it's essentially trying to find a needle in a haystack. At the very least, with this creature, not only do you get a sense of Raphtalia is still there, because it's like this cute animal energy that, even feels like, hey, it even smells like big sister Raphtalia, like what's going on here? I love the fact that they're able to give us a sense of Raphtalia, but still making it feel like it could literally be years for them before they find her. Now, do I think it will actually take that long? Probably not. But given the fact that this is completely new territory, despite it being a similar world, anything is possible. And by the time we reach Raphtalia, she could very well be a changed person depending on what she goes through, and I have literally no idea what she's about to go through. The fact that we found Filo at the right moment is amazing, and it would have been great if they all would have been teleported together, because therefore we would have been able to regroup with our crew. But it just feels like every time Naofumi gets one step forward, something forces him 2 steps backwards. And I think his rage at this point in the series feels very warranted, because he's overgrown just being mad for the sake of being mad, right? Things will piss him off, and things will make him want to cut a head off. And I think in the case of the villain of this arc, it makes total sense that he wants to do that. And honestly, I'll be surprised if he pulls his punch. But overall, I feel like they really make you feel like you're in Naofumi's shoes. And I like the fact that they did tease us. They made us think Raphtalia would be here. And I can understand why so many source readers said, like, okay, with Raphtalia being here now, there's literally no way for this arc to work. I wasn't sure what they meant at that point, because of the whole idea of, like, I like seeing small Raphtalia, right? But the fact of the matter is, what they're doing here, I love the fact that they made us believe she would be there, to rip her away, still get into the content of the separation arc, and then of course we get a new character, Raph. So, like, it's just all works out, and it was really cool to see so many source readers be like, I actually like the change in the anime better than the source for once, which you typically don't get to see. So yeah, Shield Hero's good. Shield Hero feels like it's back and better than ever. Like I mentioned, I think it was in last video or the video before, it feels like we're back into season 1 type content, and for me, season 1 was an amazing season. And while I didn't hate the previous arc, it wasn't up to the same quality that I think season 1 delivered. And to see an arc go right back into what makes Shield Hero great world building, great antagonist, and now Fumi's desire and rage feels warranted for what's going on. I just love that there's stakes, and I love the fact that it feels like we're back to where season 1 kind of started off, but with a more mature mindset and better outlook on our shoulders sort of a thing. But thoughts if you have any down below. What do you think is going to happen if you don't know of the source material? Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. Till next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.